This week we continue our journey looking at the letter E, which stands for evoke. Evoke isn't a overly common word, but we're familiar with a sister word, provoke. The problem with the word provoke is that everything is negative. When we think about provoke, somebody was provoked to do something, or we may have provoked something, some sort of emotion or some sort of action from someone. Evoke can be negative, but it can also be positive. This week's parable in Matthew 13 is the parable of the net. And if you think about fishing, which is what this parable describes, we have many different ways that we can fish, even today with poles, with nets. But there are different kinds of nets as well. There are small nets for catching a little bit of fish. There are large nets for catching more fish. And the kind of net that Jesus describes is called a seine net or a drag net. It's a net that is 8 to 12 foot in height, but over 300 feet long. It has sinkers on the bottom of it that allows it to sink to the bottom of the ocean or bottom of the sea or lake so that they can drag that net along the bottom and gather a lot of fish. Once the fish are gathered, they need to be sorted. The good fish from the bad. In the context that Jesus was talking, that's likely talking about the clean fish and the unclean fish from Leviticus, as God described clean and unclean animals. But the idea behind all of this was that there were people fishing. And when we evoke, we're stirring up people's emotions, we're stirring up people's hearts, we're stirring up people's minds to think about Jesus. We often use the word evangelism. It's a word that many Christians are scared of. Many Christians fear the idea of evangelism. But indeed, we're all called to make disciples. And to make disciples, that begins with evoke. I hope you'll join us for this week's journey as we learn how to better evoke the hearts and minds of others.